You've heard the rumors. You've seen the headlines. Dangote, the supposed monopolist, is now ironically at the mercy of a true monopoly, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, or NNPC.
Dangote is requesting that we should suspend or stop all importation of petroleum products, especially AGO and jet kero, and direct all marketers to the refinery. That is not good for the nation in terms of energy security, and that is not good for markets because of monopoly.
Yes, the same government that accused Dangote of monopolistic practices is now attempting to lock down the entire domestic petroleum market itself.
Why didn't you call NNPC as a monopoly?
After months of intense back and forth, NNPC has finally lifted restrictions on Dangote Refinery.
Today's discussion is just to celebrate and to thank God Almighty.
But let's not celebrate just yet. This so-called compromise is not as sweet as it sounds. Who really benefits here? The NNPC insiders, Dangote himself, or the Nigerian people? Spoiler alert, it is not the public. If you're new here, my name is Kenim O. You're watching Business in Nigeria, a channel about Nigeria's economic liberation. If you're interested in this kind of content, please consider subscribing. There are 3 major red flags here, and we need to talk about it. Red flag number 1, controlling local prices. First up, with this move, NNPC has the power to control all local prices of petroleum. At first glance, some might think, hey, price control might help stabilize the market. But let's not be naive. This assumes that NNPC has the best interest of Nigerians at heart. A fairy tale that history has repeatedly debunked.
Some of the NNPC people and some, traders have opened a blending plant somewhere off Malta. We all know these areas. We know what they are doing.
Now, while Dangote's claim about NNPC refining petroleum products in Malta hasn't been proven, if it is true, it raises serious concerns. Think about it. If NNPC has been quietly refining PMS abroad and reaping huge profits by distributing it back home, then Dangote Refinery is a direct threat to that cash flow. The only way NNPC would justify allowing Dangote to operate locally is if they control his distribution entirely. This leaves NNPC with 3 strategic options. Number 1, continue their Malta operation, refining crude and selling the finished product back to Nigeria, effectively earning from both upstream and downstream market segments. Number 2, dominate the local market by controlling Dangote's distribution, ensuring this revenue stream remains untouched. Number 3, or both, they could maintain their lucrative Malta operations, allow Dangote to distribute for the sake of appearances, but still dictate pricing on Dangote's products to match or even surpass their Malta profits. It's clear why the third option is the most appealing. It not only preserves their existing profits, but opens up a new avenue for growth. By owning the entire PMS distribution market in Nigeria, and soon potentially all petroleum products, NNPC stands to gain even more. We're talking about a $17 billion per year market. With that kind of money on the line, do you really think NNPC would be motivated to lower PMS prices, especially when there's no real competition to hold them accountable?
You were telling me that you've been here for a while. Tell me how long you've parked your car here for.
I've been here since yesterday night, 10 p.m. Up to now, I've not gotten the fuel. Unfortunately, we are hearing that they have changed the price of the fuel. But however, we heard that NNPC are selling for $8.50.
And how much was NNPC selling for before?
NNPC was selling for $5.68, and Why Northwest is selling for $6.20. So now I'm surprised. I don't know what to do.
Okay, let's not be negative. Let's enter this fairy tale land some want to exist in. Maybe they will reduce prices. But this leads me to the other areas. They can cripple the economy. NNPC's monopoly will suffocate competition, effectively shutting the door on private businesses trying to operate in the market. Without these players, we're left with exploitative pricing, limited choices, and a likely rise in corruption. NNPC could selectively withhold supplies from certain filling stations they don't favor, drive them out of business, and limit access to PMS for everyday Nigerians based on geography. And where there is scarcity, prices go up. This stranglehold also threatens to wipe out the entire segment of refined oil traders. A free market is the lifeblood of any thriving economy. It drives innovation, keeps money circulating, and empowers everyday Nigerians to build successful businesses. But when government entities manipulate the system for personal gain, everyone pays the price. And let's not forget about Dangote. He's not immune to this either. This power play could have serious repercussions for his business as well. Red flag number 3, sabotage against Dangote. This stranglehold gives NNPC the power to cripple Dangote's local productions. Let's not forget, NNPC already admitted to owing oil traders $6.8 billion. What's stopping them from putting Dangote in the same position, especially since they control his access to local crude, the very lifeblood of his refinery? NNPC could delay payments to such an extent that they push Dangote into a corner, leaving him with no option but to accept crude instead of cash for his refined oil. And they would have the leverage to do so because remember, they control his access to local crude. This would tighten the financial noose around his operations. Without adequate capital flow, how long before Dangote's ambitious refinery starts to falter?
This one is the gasoline, this is the PMS. You can see the diesel, because I'm sure most Nigerians, they have never ever seen this color of diesel. But this is what you call Euro 5 diesel. It's less than 10 ppm.
And how long before the water-clear petroleum starts to turn yellow again? It's a stark reminder that even when things seem transparent, the reality can shift quickly, just like this industry. Why would NNPC do Dangote any favors when his very existence is seen as a threat to their brand and balance sheet? After all, his refinery represents direct competition, and NNPC's failure to establish a fully functional refinery after borrowing billions of dollars only amplifies this threat. Their interests are fundamentally misaligned, making it clear that any excuse to sabotage him can be taken.
Mafia in oil, they are stronger than mafia in drugs.
Where there is smoke, there is fire. And in Nigeria, bad policies often hide somebody's fat wallet.
A lady, in a system where for 35 years, people are used to counting good money, and all of a sudden they see that the days of counting that money has come to an end. You don't expect them to pray for you. Of course, you expect them to fight back.
We need to move beyond individualism and operate as a community. Africa's economic liberation depends on it.
But the truth is that yes, the country, the sub-region, and also the continent, sub-Saharan Africa, need this Refinery. Personally, I tell you, if you give me that opportunity to do it again, I don't think if I'm going to do it. Because I think I developed all my gray hair within the last 5 years. I mean, it was really huge. We were facing one hurdle after the other.
While Dangote might be exhausted from this grueling process, after all, he will still find success selling across Africa. We, the Nigerian people, should not lose our fight. If NNPC continues to dominate the local market, it's Nigerians that will lose out. Let your voice be heard. This could be grounds for the people of Nigeria to pursue legal action against NNPC, demanding accountability for their monopolistic practices. Even though the legal system is often rigged against us, we should never lose the drive to fight for what is right and ask for what we deserve.
I am not scared. I will fight head on.
If you're new here, my name is Kenim O. You're watching Business in Nigeria, a channel about Nigeria's economic liberation. If you're interested in this kind of content, please consider subscribing.
There was a study where they had a bunch of rats in a cage and they left the gate open. And every time the rats would try to leave, they get shocked. They try to leave, they get shocked. They try to leave, they get shocked. Eventually the rats just stop trying to leave. Fast forward, those rats had little baby rats. They put the baby rats in a separate cage and left the gate open. And they never tried to leave. They'd never been shocked, they'd never experienced that same trauma, yet they still acted in that same way. And that's how we understand epigenetics. Trauma and response patterns can be passed down to us. This isn't just through generations, it could be through lifetimes, also something that may have happened in our childhood. What situations in our lives are we keeping ourselves in when the gate is wide open? If it is your birthright to live the most expansive, joy-filled, love, an engaging life ever, where are you staying stuck where the gate is wide open? And where do we find and expand our perception to the possibilities that are outside this gate?